Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham, Ruach Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of First Chronicles, the 29th chapter. As we went through in the 28th chapter with David, exhorting the people and Solomon to follow the ways of the Lord and to be courageous in completing and building the temple of the Lord for him, with everything appointed and set up and prepared by David already. First Chronicles 29:1. Furthermore, David the king said unto all the congregation, Solomon my son, whom alone God hath chosen, is yet young and tender, and the work is great. For the palace is not for man, but for the Lord God. So this is a heavy task that's been placed upon him, because we're not building just like a regular temple or palace for a man where you can have an error here and there. No. This is for the Lord. It has to be perfect. It has to be immaculate. Now I have prepared with all my might for the house of my God the gold for things to be made of gold, and the silver for things of silver, and the brass for things of brass, the iron for things of iron, the wood for things of wood, onyx stones and stones to be set, glistering stones, and of divers colors, and all manner of precious stones and marble stones in abundance. Moreover, because I have set my affection to the house of my God, I have of my own proper good of gold and silver, which I have given to the house of my God. So David is saying, in addition to that, right, because it's so on my spirit to do this, my personal gold, right, that I've set aside some of that gold and silver to be given to the house of God, right, to be used for this temple, over and above all that I have prepared for the house of the holy house. Even 3,000 talents of gold, of the gold of Ophir, and 7,000 talents of refined silver, to overlay the walls of the houses withal. So that's how much David contributed, in addition to all the resources he had already prepared for the house. The gold for things of gold, and the silver for things of silver, and for all manner of work to be made by the hands of artificers, which are those that were skilled in this craft. And who then is willing to consecrate his service this day unto the Lord? So who is willing to dedicate themselves to help in the service of building the house of the Lord? So David was like, I'll be the first, basically, right? Like, I've contributed this. This is what I'm adding here. Now, who else wants to, who's gonna step forward and offer their hand in this building? Then the chief of the fathers and princes of the tribes of Israel, and the captains of thousands and of hundreds, with the rulers of the king's work, offered willingly, and gave for the service of the house of God gold, 5,000 talents, which is a lot. And look up a talent. Matter of fact, I'll look it up for you. How much was a talent in the Bible? Well, the AI overview makes it even easier now. But let's see. By conversion of money and also weight. It says a biblical talent was a unit of weight equivalent to about 6,000 denarii, or roughly 20 years' wages for a laborer. In modern US dollars, this is approximately 500,000 to $1 million, making it a substantial sum of money. And this was a talent. Now it says here, as a unit of weight, a talent was a large unit of weight, typically for silver or gold, weighing around 63 pounds. So if 1 talent is between 500,000 and $1 million, that's 1 talent. How much do you think 5,000 talents would have been? All right, let's see here. Let me add some more here. This thing looks like it's broken. Oh, well. Look at that. Well, I guess then there's that. No, let me actually look up here. How much was 5,000 talents? Oops. Talents. Wow. It says here it's about 188 tons, or about $3 million in value, based on current gold prices. No. I'm looking for, yeah, this thing. I think this thing is broken here. Um, but yeah, you can do the math based on what we found before, or any external research. But the point is, it's a lot of money, right? A lot of gold, a lot of resources right there. So this wasn't any joke, and this is what the people offered, right, of the chief of the fathers, in addition to what David offered, in addition to what was already set apart. So that temple was not. That's why it took so long to build. That was a glorious temple indeed. Um, let's read this again. And gave for the silver, or for the service of the house of God, of gold 5,000 talents and 10,000 drams, and of silver 10,000 talents, and of brass 18,000 talents, and 100,000 talents of iron. Sheesh, 100,000. Yeah, you have 5,000 was a lot. 100,000, my goodness. And they with whom precious stones were found, gave them to the treasure of the house of the Lord Yahweh by the hand of Jehiel the Gershonite. Then the people rejoiced, for that they offered willingly, because with perfect heart they offered willingly to the Lord, meaning they, they weren't offering uh like half-handedly, like stingily, like, damn man, I really got to give this amount over here. No. This was like holy, out of the generosity of their heart. They wanted to do this joyously, right? And David the king also rejoiced with great joy. Wherefore David blessed the Lord before all the congregation. And David said, Blessed be thou, Lord Yahweh, God of Israel, our Father, forever and ever. Thine, O Lord, is the greatness, and the power, and the glory, and the victory, and the majesty. For all that is in the heaven and in the earth is thine. Thine is the kingdom, O Yahweh, and thou art exalted as head above all. Both riches and honor come of thee, and thou reignest over all, and in thine hand is power and might, and in thine hand it is to make great and to give strength unto all. So you control all of this, right? Now therefore, our God, we thank thee and praise thy glorious name. But who am I, and what is my people, that we should be able to offer so willingly after this sort? For all things come of thee, and of thine own have we given thee. Right? So, yes, we're doing this, but ultimately, in comparison, like in the grand scheme of things, what are we really doing, right? Because it's kind of like we're giving you, you created it, right? That's what David is saying here, right? You created gold, you created silver. We're really just giving you what's already yours. But I think what the Lord values here about it is, um, it's not necessarily what you're giving to him, but the intention behind it. Like if you're you as a parent, buy the groceries, right? And you stock the provisions and so on. And then say your child then divides like half of their sandwich or something, and then they bring it to you. Like, here, you can have half. Now, you kind of made it, right, or got the ingredients for it and all of those. And so it's not that they're giving you something that you couldn't get for yourself, but it's the fact that they thought about that, and actually was like, oh, you know what, let me share half of this with you. That's the more valuable part behind it, right? That your intention behind that action. And I think here that's what, was really pleasing to the Lord, right? Because yeah, he created gold, he created silver. It's not like he's going to take that to the bank. But the fact that his people were so willing and to at their expense, right, offer all these things for their God is a pleasing thing. Verse 15, for we are strangers before thee, and sojourners, as we are all as we or as were all our fathers. Our days on the earth are as a shadow, and there is none abiding. Right? So, even though for us, you may say 80 years, right? 70 years, that's a long time, but really to the Lord, it's like a shadow, right? It's temporary, and it's not permanent, right? You're here, then the next minute you're gone, as it says, and there is none abiding. So nobody is still here from our father's time. Obviously, through reincarnation, we know how that works, but I mean, like in the sense of their original incarnation. O Lord Yahweh our God, all this store that we have prepared to build thee an house for thine holy name cometh of thine hand, and is all thine own. I know also, my God, that thou triest the heart, and hast pleasure in uprightness. As for me, in the uprightness of mine heart, I have willingly offered all these things. And uprightness is like, correctness, right? Sincerity, righteousness, integrity. Not wicked, not perverse, not pretentious. And now have I seen with joy thy people, which are present here, to offer willingly unto thee. O Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, our fathers keep this forever in the imagination of the thoughts of the heart of thy people, and prepare their heart unto thee. And give unto Solomon my son a perfect heart, to keep thy commandments, thy testimonies, and thy statutes, and to do all these things, and to build the palace for the which I have made provision. So give him that right mind, solid, to follow your ways, to be after you, and to complete this. And David said to all the congregation, now bless the Lord Yahweh your God. And all the congregation blessed the Lord, God of their fathers, and bowed down their heads and worshiped the Lord and the king. Now, the worship here is like to reverence, not that they were worshiping David in the sense that you would worship the Most High, just for clarity. And they sacrificed sacrifices unto the Lord, and offered burnt offerings unto the Lord on the morrow after that day, even 1,000 bullocks, 1,000 rams, and 1,000 lambs, with their drink offerings and sacrifices in abundance for all Israel, and did eat and drink before the Lord Yahweh on that day with great gladness. And they made Solomon the son of David king the second time, and anointed him unto the Lord to be the chief governor, and Zadok to be priest. Because remember that you had the situation where you had, I think it was Adonijah and a few others that were basically proclaiming themselves king already. And then David had the men secretly, anoint Solomon to be king. But here, this why it says the second time, because this was open in front of all the people officially. Again, then Solomon sat on the throne of the Lord as king instead of David his father, and prospered, and all Israel obeyed him. And all the princes and the mighty men, and all the sons likewise of King David, submitted themselves unto Solomon the king. And the Lord magnified Solomon exceedingly in the sight of all Israel, and bestowed upon him such royal majesty as had not been, on any king before him in Israel. So he was, and that's why, you know, he was so glorious, right? And blessed in riches and peace and so on. Thus, David, the son of Jesse, reigned over all Israel. Meaning, this was the reign of Jesse, the reign of David, the son of Jesse, over all Israel. And the time that he reigned over Israel was 40 years. 7 years reigned he in Hebron, and 30 and 3 years reigned he in Jerusalem. And he died in a good old age, full of days, riches, and honor. And Solomon his son reigned in his stead. Now the acts of David the king, first and last, behold, they are written in the book of Samuel the seer, i.e., the prophet, and in the book of Nathan the prophet, and in the book of Gad the seer. With all his reign and his might, and the times that went over him, and over Israel, and over all the kingdoms of the countries. And that brings us to the end of First Chronicles, the 29th chapter, which is also, yep, the end of the book of First Chronicles. So, Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Recha Kodesh. And until next time, Shalom.